Peace. I'm Zulu King L1. This is the Spears and Mike's podcast where we talk about hip hop culture and knowledge in the streets. Today, man, been bumping this for the past few days, and I bump it on the regular. Like every few months, I've been throwing this in recently because I've been anticipating the 30th anniversary. Smoothe the Hustler, 30th anniversary of his album. And the album was produced by DR Period. Every song except I think Glock's on Cock. DR Period is best known for his work, probably Annie Up on the Warriors album by MOP. That's probably his best known, biggest hit, which is a pretty big hit. I would think that he made a good amount of money on that. I've been hearing Annie Up on mad commercials, all types of basketball games. You know, that song's definitely legendary. Peace to MOP, Fame, Billy Danes. But peace to Smoothe the Hustler, Trigger the Gambler, peace to DV alias Christ, and peace to DR Period, because this album was super solid. And it's hard to believe that it's been out for 30 years, because I remember picking this CD up upon its release. So, man, let me look at the track listing. You know what I mean? The track listing. The intro, Once Upon a Time. Second song, F What You Heard, featuring Trigger the Gambler, his brother, his real brother. Glock's on Cock, that's one of my favorite. Well, Dollar Bill, featuring DV alias Christ. Glock's on Cock, Broken Language, Speak My Peace, Never Die Alone, Food for Thoughts, Family Conflicts, Only Human, that's my joint. Hustler's Theme, Murder Fest, featuring Trigger and featuring DV alias Christ, Hustling, My Brother's My Ace, and Dedication. So yeah, 1996. And I want to say this. I think when I first heard Smoothe and I heard Trigger, I first heard the Broken Language video, I think, came out on Rap City. And it was getting a lot of burn. And I was listening to them brothers go back and forth. And that was a time where, man, we would hear Smith & Wesson go back and forth. We would hear Raekwon, Wu-Tang go back and forth on joints. But what these brothers did, it was intense. We've heard a lot of duos go back and forth. Even though, obviously the Locks and D-Block, they're a trio. They, Styles, Jada, they've all gone back and forth. You know what I mean? But when it comes to this album, I would say the beats was knocking. 1996, again, it was one of the greatest years in hip hop as far as music-wise. When I say hip hop music, I'm not talking about the whole culture as a whole. You know what I'm saying? But in 96, just in general, the releases were relentless. We've talked about it. Fugees, The Score, Nas, It Was Written. There's just countless records. Helter Skelter, Nocturnal, right? But when it comes to Smoothe the Hustler and Trigger the Gambler, man, them brothers had a different energy. It was raw. You could feel Brownsville right through their music. And I'll say this again, man, Brownsville is one of the biggest and one of the greatest talent pools in hip hop, man. You know what I'm saying? When you look at Boot Camp Click, MOP, Smoothe, Trigger, Brownsville Kai, you know what I'm saying? There's just so many legends that come out of Brownsville, Brooklyn, that it has to be respected and recognized. You know what I'm saying? Those that follow the podcast know that I consider it, most consider it one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in New York City. It's not a place that you want to go and play around with. When I was a kid growing up in Bed-Stuy, I would never go to Brownsville. Once or twice. And I felt uncomfortable there. I'm not even going to lie. I would feel uncomfortable in Brownsville. I would feel uncomfortable in East New York. I didn't know a lot of people there. So if you're not from there, you really don't belong there. But Saratoga Ave, you know what I'm saying, gave birth to Smoothe the Hustler and Trigger the Gambler. Their music is a reflection of their community. And I want to say, man, that when you listen to this album, you could feel the streets But what I also liked when I listened to the album and I've been dissecting it and listening to it, hearing the skits, and I don't know if that's his actual mom talking on certain skits, but she's dropping some knowledge to a young Smooth. And he's like, yeah, yeah, ma, I hear you. She's like, yeah, yeah, you keep saying you hear me, but do you really hear me? And I appreciated that, I appreciated that then, and I appreciate it even more now, like being a father, right? And we always got to give the jewelry to the children, to the seeds. You know what I'm saying? So hearing that was like, he's telling you these street tales, but he's also showing you that his mom wants him to do better and be safe. You know what I'm saying? And not act up. You know what I'm saying? So I really enjoyed that he added his mom to like 2 or 3 skits. You know what I'm saying? I remember being younger and seeing Smooth and Trigger. They was at some Zulu Nation event and they was throwing the funk up and they was talking about how they were Zulu. And if I could find that link somewhere, I'll put it in the comments or put it in the description. But supposedly they are Zulu. I never met them throughout all my years of being Zulu, 29 years. You know what I'm saying? But I believe that they came into Zulu Nation through the brother Ice-T, who most of you all know is a member of the Universal Zulu Nation. Been a long-standing member for a long time. In fact, his West Coast group, Body Count, was supposed to be like the West Coast Zulu Nation. You know what I'm saying? Ice-T came into the Zulu Nation through Africa Islam, who's from the Bronx, who I think currently lives out in Germany, and he's a hip-hop pioneer. Peace to him. So when it comes to Smooth the Hustler and Trigger the Gambler, my favorite joints on the album, I would have to say is Murderfest, Be the Sinister. It's crazy. The wordplay is crazy. Trigger the Gambler's on that. DV alias Christ is on that. Only Human. That joint is deep. You know what I'm saying? Joint is deep. Food for Thoughts is dope. Broken Language. I don't know. Broken Language, I'm going to be real. I think it's like, to me, like one of my top 25 hip hop songs. Just them going back and forth, the raw energy, the beat is crazy. That's one of my favorite beats. I'm going to put that in my top 25 beats also. I put it right up there. That beat, I put it right up there with Time's Up from OC. I think a lot of people know that OC Time's Up. That joint is crazy. Broken Language is like right there. That beat is crazy. Peace to DR period. He really did his thing. On production wise, the album, you can't ask for more. Not every joint was a banger. It has its, slow down moments. It's not always like a banger, but all the joints was tough. I don't think there was too many skips on this album. Maybe Dollar Bill. I don't know. But Glocks on Cock, crazy. Most of the album is strong. You know what I'm saying? It's strong. And, one thing that I remember is that, Trigger and Smooth were on the Nutty Professor soundtrack, which had heavyweights. It had it had Jay-Z on it. It had Foxy Brown. You know what I'm saying? And that My Crew Can't Go For That. You know what I'm saying? That was like kind of like a little hit song. I'm not even gonna lie. It was a song that got a lot of buzz, a lot of radio play. I don't remember if there's a video or not on it. It's been a long time, but we can't forget that. That's a big look for Trigger the Gambler and Smooth to be on the Nutty Professor soundtrack, because it's a hit movie, right? A very popular movie. So hopefully them brothers got paid off for doing that song and that album. They were also on Shaheem's album, Lost Generation, I think the name's album. But they got a joint, and I think DR Period produced that also. So that was probably the relation. Maybe he did some production work for Shaheem on that album outside of that song, and maybe that led to him getting Smooth and Trigger on there. I can't really put the connection between Brownsville and Staten Island. You know what I'm saying? But that could be it. Peace to Shaheem too. He's another brother that, kind of like overshadowed by like him being Wu-Tang affiliated, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like just looked at as like the little brother, you know what I'm saying? But in his own right, Shaheem got bangers, you know what I'm saying? Good music, you know what I'm saying? So peace to Shaheem, man. And I'm glad the brother been home, got his own clothing brand and all of that now, you know, really striving for positivity, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we need to be. Hip hop needs to be showing and proving that they've elevated and that they're pushing their businesses and their brands and they're maximizing their efforts to secure the bag and continue in the daily elevation. Right? We don't want to hear the stories like, you know, the brother Killer Sin that's incarcerated, you know what I mean, and loses his brother Power while he's incarcerated. You know what I mean? We don't want our hip hop greats and our hip hop talented MCs to be behind the wall. We want them free, enterprising, making business moves, you know, touring, putting new music out. Especially in this era when it's just a matter of recording in your home studio and uploading it. And now the song is out there for the world to listen to. You know what I'm saying? Now is more than ever where we need our hip hop stars to put it in a different gear. You know, we don't got to worry about this reputation of the streets no more because we know it's a myth. You know what I'm saying? The ones that were so-called real in the streets is rats. The ones that's real in the streets be struggling because of their shortcomings, because of their poor decisions as young adults. And some of them poor decisions when they were grown men. You know what I'm saying? Like, so seeing Shaheem, you know, go to prison a few times, you know what I'm saying? And now where he's at, man, you gotta salute it. You gotta tip your hat. You know what I'm saying? And in speaking back to Smoothe the Hustler and Trigger the Gambler, you know what's funny? I remember when him and Cassidy the Hustler was going at it. And I don't think Cassidy ever responded to him that I could remember. You know what I mean? But I remember there was a joint where Smoothe was getting at him and it was fire. And you know, when Cassidy came out, I just knew him as Cassidy. Even though I knew he called himself Cassidy the Hustler, I never really thought back to Smoothe the Hustler. I never put that together. Like, oh, he kind of like grabbed Smooth's name. Kind of corny. I'm pretty sure that Cassidy probably heard of Smoothe the Hustler, who that was a fan of hip hop. And I know Cassidy's like a little younger than me. All right, so when this album came out, 1996, I was 16. I don't know, maybe Cassidy's 5-6 years younger than me. Maybe I would think he heard of Smoothe the Hustler, especially in the later years. Before his career, I would say he should have heard of him. You know, maybe somebody in his camp, like Swiss Beats, or somebody should have said, yo, your name is kind of like this brother's name. You want to go in a different route, different direction. I would have personally, you know. But, you know, that's no diss or disrespect to Cassidy. He's dope in his own right. And I bought his first 2 albums, you know what I mean? I thought his first 3 albums were very good, you know what I mean? But, you know, Smooth got a bunch of work. He got some good music out. And, you know, I compare Smooth to, when I listen to Smoothe the Hustler, I'll be thinking of Yuck Mouth from Loonies out in Oakland. Peace to Yuck Mouth and peace to the Loonies. Them brothers are talented too. Yuck Mouth is one of my favorite West Coast rappers. I'm gonna be real. You know what I'm saying? I compare them a lot to each other. I would love to see them work together. You know what I'm saying? If for somehow Smooth and Yuck Mouth would have tap in with this video, I would love to see y'all brothers work together. And I would love to see Smooth and Trigger continue to put music out in the forefront. You know what I'm saying? Maybe linking back up with DR Period. You know what I'm saying? And going out. Maybe let's get a Broken Language too. You know what I'm saying? Let's hear y'all go back to back right now, 2026, 30 years later. That would be dope. You know? I could say, man, I like doing these 30-year joints. It's a little more challenging when you're by yourself. The brother Just P, my co-host, he's on his way to Denver to do a show with Thurston Howell III. You know, best wishes and success to Just P and Thurston and all the low lives. Big salute, you know, from Z's to L's. You know, big salute, peace and love. Um, so he couldn't be here today to do the episode with me. And I know the brother Watt has been staying focused on during the holy month of Ramadan, you know. So I'm hoping that brothers get back in tune. Inshallah, we get together soon and start recording back as a trio, because I definitely miss that, and it's sort of a lot easier when you have your partners to, you know, bounce ideas off of, and the energy is different, you know, versus you just talking to the camera, you know. When I film with them, I'm looking at them on screen, and it's almost like we having a real discussion, you know what I mean? So it's much more smooth and easy. But for those that may be younger than us, listen to Smooth the Hustler. The album came out in 1996. The full name of the album is Once Upon a Time in America. You know what I'm saying? And I'll flash some of the cover art, and the thumbnail will show the album. You know what I'm saying? But you won't regret it. If you don't like it, man, I don't know, I'll bang out 100 push-ups live, or die trying. You know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure you're gonna like it. You know what I'm saying? For my Zulus that ain't familiar with the album, run that back, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it's legendary here in Brooklyn and in the East Coast, in New York City. Smooth the Hustler, that album was well respected, and definitely had the attention of a lot of people. Yeah, man. You know, I just wanted to give it that respect and that honor, and give it the little bit of love and shine a little bit of light on that album, you know, for the listeners, for the viewers. So if you're watching this, hit that like button, drop a comment. What's your favorite joint off the Once Upon a Time in America by Smooth the Hustler on his 30th year anniversary? Came out on this date, today, 30 years ago. So if you like DR Period's beats, let me know in the comments. DV alias Christ. If you think that brother has one of the most distinctive voices and styles and flows in hip hop, and you wish you heard more from him, let me know in the comments, because I think him and Lord Have Mercy have two of the most unique flows and voices in hip hop. They definitely were totally different than anybody that was out during that time. Peace to Lord Have Mercy from Flip Mode Squad. Peace to DV alias Christ. You know what I'm saying? Peace to all the contributors, man, that made that album what it is. You know, it did I think, like, it did crack the Billboard Top 200 in general, and it also it cracked the hip hop, the rap and R&B charts, you know, and it was up there for several weeks also. So, you know, it did sell pretty well, but not like, you know, big monster hit or nothing like that. But it got a lot of burn on Rap City, a lot of burn on Hot 97. I believe burn on Yo MTV Raps. You know, the video Broken Language is being played. And like I said, listen to the album, go check out the videos, familiarize yourself with all the Smooth's other albums. You know what I'm saying? He definitely got some good albums out there to listen to as well. All right? But man, just continue to support us, continue to view, share. You know what I'm saying? I'm Zulu King L1, chapter 25, Zulu Union. Big respect to all the Zulus out there, every chapter, all around the world. And big respect to all the hip hop culture heads, you know what I'm saying? People that truly live the culture, preserve the culture, respect the culture, and want the culture to elevate. That's where we're at with it. We don't want to do the hip hop gossip, you know, the brainless, just nothing but street tales of treachery, ignorance, killing, senseless violence. A lot of y'all are making money on YouTube and that, and it's like, yo, what else do y'all got to offer beyond that? Is there anything that you bring to the table other than treachery, other than ignorance, other than violence, other than foolishness? You got to ask yourself, what type of content are you leaving? What type of message are you preserving on YouTube for your listeners, for your viewers to consume? Right now it might seem cool. Right now you might get a little bit of change. Maybe that's your only way of making money. I don't know what it is, but we got to be better at promoting certain things, especially when it comes to the message that the youth receive. And we also have to just put out better content in general. Can't always be about violence, the streets, the negativity. You know what I'm saying? That's not it. But just wanted to drop that little piece. You know what I mean? Because it's been on my mind. And the dissing of other YouTubers and vloggers, and it's like it's like a carousel spinning. But I don't see y'all on the horse. I see y'all on a pig. It's like a carousel of pigs. You know what I'm saying? And just brothers looking stupid, dissing each other, disrespecting each other, talking about each other's families and money, and I don't know, man. It's bogus. You know, I'm about to start unsubscribing from y'all and just watching the ones that promote positivity and promote the culture in the true, respectable fashion. You know, not to say that I'm better or we're better than anybody, but we definitely have to do better when it comes to hip hop, YouTube, hip hop in general. Well, peace and love. I'm L1.